What is up, everybody? Mr. Purtis here. Welcome to Unit 4, which is 1450 to 1750. And this is a little kind of sub-unit within all these other units on gunpowder empires of South Asia and the Middle East. So first thing, this is the three areas that we're talking about. So obviously, hopefully we know this at this point. This is Asia over here. This is the Middle East over here, also known as Southwest Asia. So South Asia, Southeast Asia will be over here. And this area is generally referred to as the Middle East. We got North Africa. This is Europe. This is the demarcation or the separation between Europe and Asia. So anyway, during this time period, 1450 to 1750, we have a bunch of these what are called gunpowder empires. And they're exactly what you think. If you have access to gunpowder and weapons, and remember, that gunpowder, just a little contextualization, to kind of come back and take a step back. From the previous time period, we had gunpowder, which made its way from China, which was really used in kind of celebrations and fireworks and some incendiary devices, but comes across the Silk Road during the Pax Mongolia period, the Peace of the Mongols, comes into Europe, and the Europeans kind of perfect this use of gunpowder to use in guns. So gunpowder, guns is going to kind of spread through trade. And if you have access, if your empire has access to gunpowder, it's really easy to start conquering and then dominating, because if the people who you are conquering don't have gunpowder and you do, you generally win. So we have three different empires that are going to exist, which are going to be one, the Ottoman Empire, which is over here in parts of Europe, Southwest Asia, as well as North Africa, and down here into what is known as Mesopotamia. We got the Safavid Empire right here, which is in present day Iran, and then previous time period of Persia, and then here is the Mughal Empire, which is in South Asia. So I'm going to run through these kind of quick. If you're taking notes on these, you can kind of do them straight down. If you're a chart person and you want to see them side by side, you can do it that way. But I'm going to run through these quick. As always, we'll talk more about this in class. Write down any questions, but let's do this. Rock and roll. Numero uno. Number one, Ottoman Empire. So here's the deal with the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire is going to be at its peak, or almost its peak, is right here. They are a group of people really from Central Asia. We have a lot of these like nomadic Central Asian groups who are coming out of the steppes, kind of in the area around where Mongolia and the Mongol Empire used to be. And they're coming down into these regions, conquering in like the 13 and 1400s. And this group of people are known as, they're Turkish. That's their ethnic group. They're referred to, their religious group is primarily Islam. So they are Muslim Turks, and they call themselves the Ottomans. And they're going to come down into this area, and they're going to conquer this region, which was previously known as the Caliphates. Remember, the Caliphates, again, contextualization. Oh my gosh, I'm brilliant. Contextualization. The Mongols had overthrown the Caliphates, and so when the Caliphate fell, the Mongols took over, but then the Mongols' time period was short-lived. So it's kind of this vacuum of power, and these nomadic people, this Turkish group comes in and they conquer this area. And one thing they do also conquer, besides what was formerly known as the Islamic Caliphates, is they also overthrow the Byzantine Empire, and they conquer Constantinople, which is right here in 1453. Here's the deal with this empire as you look at it on the map. First of all, it's big, it's really large, and they have gunpowder, so they're able to conquer and expand, but also it's really diverse. There's a lot of geographic features here that separated people for hundreds of years, thousands of years. So there's a lot of, even within like little regions down here in this area called the Balkan Peninsula, and Greece is down here, there's a lot of different ethnic groups. The challenge of this Sunni, Muslim, Turkish group is, how do we conquer and treat these different people? How do we make sure that we can keep kind of some stability and legitimacy in our government? And under this region, under one person named Suleiman the Magnificent, anytime you got a name like Magnificent, you know you're pretty important, like the Great or Magnificent. Anyway, Suleiman is going to create a golden age. And here's a couple things that kind of go on under the Ottoman Empire, under Suleiman and some other emperors. One, they have something called the Dev Shrine. And what the Dev Shrine says is, if you are, remember, we got a Muslim Sunni group conquering a diverse group of people. So we got Christians, we got Jews, we got other ethnic groups, people who aren't Turkish, people who aren't Muslim, people who aren't part of this empire, don't feel part of this empire, but are in it. What do? So one thing they do is they set up this thing called the Dev Shrine, and it's basically a tax where the Ottomans can go in and take Christian boys at a young age, and they bring them into the Ottoman military, and the military system is called the Dev Shrine. And so they bring these Christian boys, they train them from a very young age, and I guess you would almost say like brainwash them into becoming these military soldiers, where their sole job, their sole focus in life is to be this military soldier. And the name of these soldiers are called janissaries, and that word is right here. It's almost like a slave class of people, but don't think of slaves as in like American Atlantic slavery. Like, to a certain degree, I mean, they're slaves, and slaves are slaves, and they are taken from their family, which is a horrible thing. But to some people, it was seen as this honorable profession where these janissaries are getting a certain level of power as for being in the military. And they're really this elite force, and being an elite force that whose sole job is really to be the military, are able to kind of maintain the power and control and help expand. There's also another system for people who are Christians and Jews who are not part of this system, called the millet system. And this is basically, you're forced to pay a tax. So the Christians and Jews are really going to live in segregated communities. They're not going to, for the most part, I mean, there's trade going on, but they're going to live in their own Christian communities, Jewish communities, but they do have to pay the jizya tax, which is right here. So they're going to pay this tax on top of the other taxes because they're not Muslim. So also, this is just a picture. This is Suleiman the Magnificent, a little picture of him. This is a prince from Hungary, which is in Central Europe, coming to kind of pay homage to and probably ask Suleiman for something. So you can see this is the European king coming into Suleiman. And this is just a picture of the architecture. You'll see kind of a couple things. You obviously see the minarets here, which is common in Islamic architecture. But you also see a dome on here, which kind of is more European in nature. And remember, Constantinople, which is going to be overthrown by the Ottomans and become Istanbul, is going to use a lot of these as kind of the center of trade. So we have some Indian influence, Persian influence, Christian or European Christian influence as well. So we have all these influences coming into the Ottoman Empire. Another empire that's going to exist at the same time is called the Safavid Empire. Right here. So over here is the Ottoman on one side and the empire next, which is the Mughal over here. Here's the Safavid. They're kind of like smushed. Boom. Peanut butter and jelly style, right in between the two pieces of bread over here, which is the Ottoman. Horrible example, by the way. I'm sorry. And the Mughal Empire over here. So boom, they're smushed in between. They really kind of don't get a lot of play. They're like the group that no one talks about because, I don't know, there's other more important groups, but they're there. They're around. The kings are known as Shahs. And that word's going to come back up again in the 1900s, which is a Persian word for king. There's very little religious freedom. They are very strict Islamic group. And instead of being Sunnis like the Ottomans are, they're actually Shia. And if you aren't Shia, they either force you to convert or they're going to go out and kill people. So there's a lot of conflict in this region between the Shias or the Shiites. You'll see it both ways. So Shia is right here. The old school way is Shiite right here. Shiite. And they are going to, in the Safavid Empire, I'll try that again. Let me try. Shia or Shiite are going to go out and kill the Sunnis. And we see the same thing in the Ottoman Empire where if you are Muslim, you need to be Sunni. So we have this tension that exists, contextualization from the last time period when Islam formed. Contextualization is everywhere. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. There's going to be a golden age in the Safavid Empire. One thing they do is they blend a lot of religions. So because they are here and they're near the Ottoman Empire, and Europe is up here, and India's over here, and China's over here, we see a lot of blending with different worlds. Ottoman, Persian, Arab worlds kind of connecting with architecture, art. The Chinese are going to come in and help build up the capital. So we have Chinese artisans coming in. The main thing is these Persian rugs, which are still sold today and very popular. They're hand-woven rugs with these crazy, intricate patterns. We also have military reforms, modern weaponry, gunpowder. Obviously, it's a gunpowder empire. And they're going to publish or punish corruption. So there's one of the issues here with these governments is we get so big, we want to make sure corruption doesn't exist, or we want to try and squash it as much as possible. One last empire. So we got the Ottomans coming across, which for your screen would be Ottomans, Safavid. This is the Mughal Empire. This is a mixture. This empire was created between a mixture of Turkish, again, similar to the Ottoman Empire, Turkish, Central Asian people from the steppes, Turkish, and Mongol. And they arrive in India here, and they are basically going, here's the deal with them. They are also Muslim. So coming back, Muslim Empire, and Muslim Empire. But here's the deal with the Mughal Empire. The people who live here are not primarily Muslim. It's like 80 to 90% Hindu. And here comes this Muslim group coming in and conquering. You got some dilemmas. You got some issues. They are going to be able to unify them. It's really the first time since the Gupta in the 500s that India has been unified again. We had some little empires like the Delhi Sultanate up here, but really it's been decentralized for 1,000 years. And in come the Mughals trying to centralize it. The main leader who usually gets pointed to is Akbar. Akbar's name is Akbar the Great. Remember Suleiman the Magnificent? Akbar the Great. Pretty important dude, Akbar the Great. He is going to do a couple things that are going to get the respect of the majority Hindu population. He's Muslim, but he gets respect from the majority Hindu population. He ends the jizya tax on Hindus. So coming back, remember, we got it back here. Remember, tax, Muslims and Christians, that's in the Ottoman Empire. They had the same tax under the Mughal Empire, but Akbar ends it. And Hindus, you can imagine, if they're getting their taxes lowered, are like, dude, you are awesome. I love you. You're the man. And that's how they feel about Akbar. He also creates a fair tax system where people aren't taxed that differently based on religion. Also, he's going to invite Hindus to work in the bureaucracy. He creates this complex bureaucracy, and he says, hey, Hindus, come and work for me. If you're a local prince and you're Hindu, I'll let you stay in charge. Send people to work for me. I want this diverse empire. He also, because there's so much tension between Hindus and Muslims throughout the history of South Asia and India, he tries to create a new religion called the Divine Faith. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, which is a blend of Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, and our old school one, don't forget, Zoroastrianism. So he tries to create a blend of all these. And he also blends Hindu and Turkish and Persian and all kinds of stuff. He is like the diversity guru. He is the man. Women are going to be seen as high regard in the Mughal Empire. They get nice tombs. They get elaborate decor. This is the Taj Mahal. One of the Mughal rulers after Akbar is going to build this for his beloved wife who died, which is one of the most famous buildings in the world. So there's the architecture. You're going to see the minarets. You're going to see some arches. You're going to see some domes, all kinds of cool stuff. One bad thing about the Mughal Empire, and one thing that's going to lead to their decline in the next time period is one of the leaders after Akbar is going to get rid of a lot of these freedoms and kind of nice things towards Hindus. He's going to bring back the jizya tax. He's going to get rid of the Hindus from the government. He's going to destroy Hindu temples. And people are devoutly religious in India, and they're not happy with this. So you're going to have this tension brewing and building up. And not to give away the story, don't tell anybody. But the British and the French are going to start coming in and playing these Hindus off of the Muslim rulers, and they're going to start causing some tension there, and it's going to lead to the downfall of the Mughal Empire in the 1800s, which is the next time period. But that's a little preview. That's what I got. Any questions, as always, write it down. Let me know. Sound good?